Mark Johnson, evolutionary biologist, stated in the College Board stimulus Urban Evolution that most evolutionary biologists would not be caught dead in a city. However, since the year 1990, things have changed a lot. Biodiversity has been decreasing at an alarming rate. The World Wildlife Fund believing extinction is 1,000 to 10,000 times higher than it naturally should be. Hello, my name is Tyler Anderson. Using the College Board stimulus, I came up with the research question of in what ways can greenhouse gas emissions caused by US cities be decreased? My argument is that moving away from car and truck-centric infrastructure, we can reliably decrease greenhouse gas emissions. In America, cars are the most common mode of transportation, with 91% of households owning cars, compared to Europe, where only 79% of people own cars. And along with that, majority of people drive alone to work, with 82% of people who leave their house to work driving, and only 5% do not drive. This leads to most of emissions being caused by personal vehicles, with 57% of all transportation emissions caused by light-duty vehicles, and 27% of all US emissions caused by cars. One of the reasons for this is that the US has a very weak public transit system. The NYU fellow Jonathan English set out to determine how bad American public transit was. He found that cities like Columbus, Ohio do not have any adequate public transit networks. And even cities like Washington, D.C., which have relatively good transit networks, pale in comparison to cities like Toronto, which has over 3 times as many riders per capita as Washington, D.C. These weak systems force people to drive cars, which then decreases funding for public transit, forcing more people to drive cars in an awful cycle. One argument produced by Dr. Xin Hong is to expand the metro systems in cities. She found that opening the Beijing metro reduced significantly air pollution concentration within the region. Another option that can be done alongside metro systems is electric bus networks. Electric bus networks have the benefit of being able to be built along already existing roads and along already existing routes, and provide a strong benefit compared to diesel buses, as you can see in this graph. While public transit is very good for larger trips within cities, they are not effective within smaller communities, where most people are forced to drive and cannot walk anywhere. If we can decrease the amount of cars driving on the road, or driving these small distances, we can decrease significantly the amount of greenhouse gases produced within the region. One idea for this was presented by the Canadian Housing and Mortgage Company, which gave the idea of this grid system, where we have an active transit network within the quadrant that allows people to walk anywhere within it, getting to services, anything that they need, while having vehicle networks that go around it and slightly into it to provide longer distance traveling and bring in goods to the region, or to the quadrant. While this may be the smallest of carbon emissions from transportation, people and goods moving between cities is also a large part of emissions, with 90% of people driving cars between cities and 70% of good transportation being taken by trucks. One solution that they tried in Australia is to use a combination of diesel and hybrid electric trains. This decreased emissions from trains by up to 55%. And if we go to a fully electric model, we can decrease emissions up to 90% by the year 2035. All right, this is passenger. We can use passenger high-speed rails to also decrease emissions from people moving around cities. Passenger high-speed rail produces only 7% of the emissions that cars do, which is a large difference and can help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Limitations of this is that most energy in America is produced by non-clean methods. So coal production and natural gas is being burned. This produces greenhouse gas emissions. So even if we use electric modes of transportation, they will still be powered by carbon emitting sites, as well as building infrastructure to support public transportation and other networks is highly expensive, which will cost a lot. Thank you.
All right, 2 questions for you. What information did you need that you weren't able to find or locate?
I would have liked to find more information talking about the carbon reduction that electric trains have over diesel trains and cars, but there is limited information as many countries do not have strong networks.
Okay, and what advice would you have for other researchers who take this topic in the future?
Try to focus on one type of transportation rather than all, because you can go into more detail about it and learn about the different ways that we can use it and implement it within cities and between cities.
Perfect.